The Fox and the Grapes. One day, a fox was walking in the forest. He saw a tree with many delicious grapes. "Wow, they look so tasty. I want to eat them," he said. The fox jumped high to grab the grapes, but they were too high, and he could not reach them. "I will try again," he said. The fox used more strength and jumped even higher, but he still could not reach the grapes. What should I do?" he thought. He jumped again and again, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not get the grapes. Finally, the fox gave up. He turned around and said, "These grapes must be sour and bad anyway." Then, the fox walked away, leaving the grapes behind. The end. The meaning of the story. The fox really wanted to eat the grapes, but he could not get them, and he felt frustrated. So, he told himself, "They are probably bad anyway," to make himself feel better. But in reality, he never tasted the grapes, so he did not know if they were good or bad. Have you ever wanted something but could not get it? Did you say, "I don't really want it," or "It's not important," to hide your true feelings? This story teaches us to be honest about our real feelings, and not to give up too easily. The story of the rabbi and the poor man. A long time ago, there was a poor man who lived in a small village. His house was very small, and he had a big family. The children ran around, his wife cooked, and the man sighed every day, "Oh, what a small house." One day, the man went to a wise rabbi, a teacher in the Jewish faith, for advice. "Rabbi, please help me. My house is too small, and it is hard for my family to live there." The rabbi nodded and said, "Then bring a goat into your house." "What, a goat?" the man asked in surprise. But he trusted the wise rabbi, so he did as he was told. The next day, the goat ran around the house. It made a loud "mee" sound. It ate the man's bread and chased the children. The house became even more crowded. The man ran back to the rabbi. "Rabbi, this is terrible. My house is even smaller with the goat inside." The rabbi smiled and said, "Now, take the goat outside." The man went home and put the goat in the yard. At that moment, his house felt big. The children had space to run. His wife could cook more easily. The man was surprised and ran back to the rabbi. "Rabbi, thank you so much. My house feels so big now." The rabbi smiled kindly and said, "See? Everything depends on how you feel." The lesson of the story. The poor man's house did not change, but after living with the goat, it felt bigger. Sometimes, we think our life is too hard or not enough. But if we change how we see things, we may realize that what we have is already enough. King Solomon and the Magic Ring. A long time ago, in Israel, there was a very wise king named Solomon. One day, King Solomon said to his servants, "Find me a special ring that can calm my heart." The servants were surprised. "A ring that can calm your heart?" "Yes," said the king. "No matter how happy or sad I feel when I look at this ring, I want to feel calm." The servants searched everywhere in the country, but they could not find such a ring. Does this kind of ring really exist? They were very worried. Then, an old jeweler in a small town smiled and said, "Leave it to me." The old man made a gold ring and wrote some small words on it. "Take this to King Solomon," he said. The servants were not sure, but they brought the ring back to the king. King Solomon took the ring and read the words on it. "This too shall pass." The king thought for a moment. Good times will pass, and bad times will also pass. He nodded deeply and put the ring on his finger. From that day on, King Solomon was always calm. When he was happy, he did not become too proud. When he was sad, he did not lose hope. He ruled his country with wisdom and peace. Hillel and the Golden Rule. A long time ago, in Israel, there was a very wise and kind teacher named Hillel. One day, a man came to Hillel and said, "Rabbi Hillel, teach me about Judaism." Hillel smiled and said, "Of course." Then, the man smirked and said, "But you must teach me while I stand on one foot." The people around them were shocked. That's impossible. Is this man making fun of Hillel? But Hillel did not get angry. Instead, he smiled kindly and said, "Do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you." This is the whole teaching of Judaism. Everything else is just explanation. Now, go and learn. The man opened his eyes wide in surprise. Is it really that simple? Yes, Hillel nodded. Everyone wants to be treated kindly. But other people feel the same way. If we do not hurt others, the world will be a better place. The man thought for a while and then nodded deeply. I see such simple words, but such deep wisdom. Thank you, Rabbi Hillel. The man left, keeping Hillel's words in his heart. The lesson of this story. The words of Hillel are called the Golden Rule. Do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. This idea is not only in Judaism, but also in many religions and moral teachings around the world. If we remember Hillel's words when we talk to others, we can build better relationships and a kinder world. The oven of Achnai. A long time ago, in the land of Judah, there was a special school. Many wise teachers, called rabbis, studied there. Every day, they talked and argued about the teachings of Judaism. One day, the rabbis had a big argument about a special oven called Achnai's oven. Rabbi Eliezer, a very smart scholar, said, "This oven is clean." But the other rabbis shook their heads. "No, this oven is unclean." The argument became stronger and stronger. But Rabbi Eliezer wanted to prove that he was right. So, he suddenly said, "If I am right, this tree will prove it." Then, something amazing happened. A big tree near them moved. Its roots came out of the ground. But the other rabbis still shook their heads. A tree moving does not prove you are right. Rabbi Eliezer did not give up. Then, "This river will prove it." Suddenly, the river began to flow backward. But the rabbis shook their heads again. Even if a river moves, the answer does not change. Rabbi Eliezer pointed to the sky. "Then, the sky will prove I am right." At that moment, a voice came from the sky. Rabbi Eliezer is correct. Normally, people would believe a voice from the sky. But the rabbis did not. The oldest rabbi, Rabbi Joshua, looked up and said loudly, "Even if the sky says so, laws are not decided by heaven. Laws are decided by people." After that, the voice from the sky became silent. So, the rabbis made their final decision: Achnai's oven was unclean. Rabbi Eliezer was sad, but he accepted their decision. The lesson of this story. This story teaches us an important idea in Judaism. Laws and rules should not be decided by the voice of heaven, but by human discussion and wisdom. Even if a powerful person says something, or something strange happens, that does not always mean it is true. The most important thing is to discuss together and decide as a group. This idea is also important in modern democracy. That is why, when we make decisions, we should not just listen to one person, we should talk and think together. Two men and a piece of cloth. A long time ago, in a small town, there were two men named Aaron and Ben. They were childhood friends and always did everything together. But both of them hated to lose, so they often fought. One day, they went to the market and saw a beautiful piece of cloth. It was a deep blue color, shining like the night sky. It was soft like silk, and when the wind blew, it moved gently in the air. "Wow, what a wonderful cloth," Aaron said with bright eyes. "I can make the perfect clothes with this." "What? No way. I saw it first, so it's mine." Ben grabbed the cloth. "No, it's mine. It's mine." Rip. As they pulled, the cloth tore a little. "Hey, look what you did. It's your fault." They started a big fight. In the end, they decided to go to Rabbi Jacob, the wisest man in town. The rabbi's judgment. Rabbi Jacob was known for solving any problem. He listened carefully as the two men shouted, "It's mine." "No, it's mine." Then, he nodded and said something surprising. "Then, cut the cloth in half and share it." "What?" The two men were shocked. "This is the only fair way," the rabbi said. Suddenly, Aaron's face turned pale, and he shouted, "No, this cloth is too beautiful to cut." But Ben crossed his arms and said, "Well, half is better than nothing." At that moment, the rabbi smiled and gave the cloth to Aaron. "Aaron, you are the true owner of this cloth." "What? Why?" Ben protested. The rabbi answered slowly, "The person who truly cares about the cloth does not want to see it destroyed. That is why Aaron should have it." Ben stood in silence for a moment. Then, he finally understood. "I see. I just wanted to win." But Aaron wanted to protect the cloth. Aaron smiled and said, "Ben, if we cut the cloth, you would take the bigger piece, right? You found out?" "Of course. But you liked this cloth, didn't you? I'll make something for you too." "Really? Then make me a cool scarf." "You don't look good in a scarf, though." "Shut up." The two friends laughed and walked together through the market again. The lesson of the story. Rabbi Jacob's words teach us that something truly important is not something to fight over, but something to protect. Aaron loved the cloth itself, but Ben only wanted to win. In the end, they learned to stop fighting and share. When we fight for something, we should ask ourselves, "Do I really want this? Or do I just want to win?" That question might help us make better choices. The man who could not repay his debt and the wise king. A long time ago, in a faraway land, there was a wise king named Rabbi. He was fair and kind, and the people respected him. One day, a man came to the palace and knocked on the gate. He asked to see the king. "Your Majesty, please help me. I am a poor merchant. I borrowed a lot of money, but now I cannot pay it back. The lender says he will put me in prison. What should I do?" The king asked him, "What did you use the money for?" "I used it for my business, but things did not go well. I lost everything." The king nodded and called the lender to the palace. The lender was a rich merchant, and he was very angry. "This man borrowed a lot of money from me. He promised to return it by a certain date. But he did not. A promise is a promise. He must go to prison." The king was silent for a moment. Then, he spoke calmly. "If you put him in prison, will you get your money back?" "No. If he is in prison, he cannot work, so he cannot repay me." The king smiled. "Then, here is the best solution. Give this man more time. Let him pay back the money little by little. Isn't that the wisest way?" The lender was not happy, but he could not argue with the king's words. But the king was not finished. He turned to the poor man and spoke kindly. "You tried your best, but things did not go well. But failure is not the end. If you work hard and pay back the money little by little, you will succeed again one day." The man's eyes filled with tears. He bowed deeply and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will work hard and return the money." Because of the king's wisdom and kindness, the man did not go to prison. Instead, he got a second chance to repay his debt. Lesson: when people are in trouble, it is better to help them stand up again rather than punish them. Justice is not just about rules, it is a balance of wisdom and kindness. Rabbi Akiva, the candle, the donkey, and the rooster. Everything happens for the best. This was what the wise Rabbi Akiva always said. No matter how bad things seemed, he believed, this must be for a good reason. A difficult journey. One day, Rabbi Akiva went on a long journey. As the sun began to set, he looked for a place to stay. But every village he visited refused to let him in. "There is no choice. I will sleep outside tonight," he said. So, he decided to rest near a forest with the few things he had: a candle, a donkey, and a rooster. A night full of trouble. That night, Rabbi Akiva lit his candle and started reading the Torah. Suddenly, a strong wind blew and put out the candle. "Oh well, this must be for the best," he said and lay down to sleep. A little later, he heard a loud cock-a-doodle-doo. It was his rooster. But before he could react, a wild fox appeared, grabbed the rooster in its mouth, and ran away. "Oh well, this must be for the best," he said again. He did not get upset and went back to sleep. But his troubles were not over. A lion came near his resting place. The lion did not attack him, but it took his donkey and disappeared into the night. Now, his journey would be even more difficult. But Rabbi Akiva simply sighed and said, "This must be for the best." A shocking morning. The next morning, Rabbi Akiva heard terrible news. During the night, a group of bandits attacked the village. They captured the people. Rabbi Akiva was shocked. If he had stayed in the village, he would have been captured too. If his candle had stayed lit, the bandits might have seen the light and found him. If his rooster had crowed, or if his donkey had been there, the noise might have led the bandits to him. Rabbi Akiva looked up at the sky and whispered, "Everything really does happen for the best." The lesson of the story. This story teaches us that even when bad things happen, they might actually lead to something good. In life, we often ask, "Why do bad things happen to me?" But maybe those events are protecting us from something worse or leading us to something better. If we believe that good things can come from our troubles, we can stay positive in any situation. A young man who wanted to learn. A long time ago, in a small village, there was a young man who wanted to learn important things. His name was David. David loved studying. He wanted to become the wisest person in the village. One day, he heard about a great teacher named Rabbi Eliyahu. People said, "He is the wisest man in this land. I will go and learn from Rabbi Eliyahu." David decided. The request. David went to Rabbi Eliyahu's house. When he arrived, he spoke excitedly. "Rabbi, please teach me. I want to become wise as quickly as possible. Tell me how I can learn all the Torah and wisdom in the shortest time." Rabbi Eliyahu looked at David quietly. Then, he smiled. "I have a small task for you," he said. The rabbi gave David a bowl full of water. "Take this bowl and carry it to the top of that hill. But be careful, you must not spill even a single drop of water." David thought, "This is easy." He took the bowl carefully with both hands. "I must carry it safely," he said. Rushing leads to mistakes. David started walking slowly. At first, everything was fine. But soon, he started to feel impatient. "I want to finish this quickly and learn from the rabbi." But when he tried to move faster, the water in the bowl shook. It almost spilled. "Oh no, I must be more careful." So, David took a deep breath. He walked step by step, slowly and carefully. Finally, he reached the hill. At that moment, he realized something. If I rush, the water spills. But if I take my time, I can carry it safely. He carefully walked back and handed the bowl to the rabbi. Without spilling any water. Learning is like water. Rabbi Eliyahu looked at the bowl and said softly, "David, learning is just like this water. If you try to learn everything too quickly, you will forget it, just like the water that spills from the bowl. But if you learn step by step, little by little, you will truly understand and remember important things." David's eyes widened. "I see. Becoming wise is not about learning everything at once. It is about studying a little each day." From that day on, David studied patiently, one step at a time. And slowly, he became truly wise. The lesson of the story. This story teaches us that knowledge is not something we get in an instant. It is something we build, little by little. If we learn a little every day without rushing, we will gain true wisdom in the end. The Donkey of Destiny. A long time ago, in a town, there was a wise man named Rabbi Ben Eliyahu. The people in the town respected him, and many came to him for advice. Buying a weak donkey. One day, in the town market, a poor man was shouting, "Please buy my donkey. This donkey is a hard worker." The donkey was thin and did not look strong. But Rabbi Ben Eliyahu looked at the donkey carefully and said quietly, "I will buy this donkey." The people in the town were surprised. "Rabbi, you should buy a better donkey. This donkey is too weak. It will be useless soon." But the rabbi only smiled and gently touched the donkey back. The donkey's secret. Rabbi took the donkey home. Every day, he walked through the town with it. The donkey worked hard and helped the rabbi. One day, the donkey suddenly started digging the ground with its front legs. What's wrong? Rabbi looked closer. Then, he saw something surprising. A bag of gold was buried there. The people in the town were shocked. There was treasure buried here? Rabbi Ben Eliyahu opened the bag and quickly called an officer. This gold must belong to the person who lived here before. We must find the real owner. After checking, the officer found out that the gold was the property of a merchant who had died years ago. The merchant's family had been searching for it but never found it. Rabbi gave the gold back to the family. The merchant's family cried with happiness. Rabbi, thank you so much. We were in trouble without this money. Guided by fate, the people in the town were amazed. Was this just luck? No, maybe fate guided the rabbi because he did the right thing. Rabbi Ben Eliyahu said softly, "When I bought this donkey, everyone told me to buy a better one. But we never know where fate will lead us. Everything has a meaning." The people in the town nodded deeply. Even things that seem useless can bring great fortune. After that day, the people in the town learned to value everything around them. The lesson of the story. This story teaches us that we should not judge things only by their looks or value. Something that seems useless can have great meaning in the future. Maybe there is hidden luck around us, too. The story of Rabbi Yochanan and Yonah. A hard life. A long time ago, in a small town, there was a young man named Yonah. He was born into a poor family. Every day, he worked in the market, carrying heavy bags like a donkey. "Hurry up, if you are too slow, we will pay you less." The shopkeepers shouted at him, but Yonah said nothing. He kept working because his family needed money to live. A special meeting. One day, as Yonah walked through the market with heavy bags on his back, a wise man named Rabbi Yochanan watched him carefully. "Young man, how many hours do you work every day?" Yonah was surprised but answered, "From morning until night. I have no time to rest because I must help my family." Rabbi Yochanan smiled kindly and asked, "Then, do you have time for your soul?" "Time for my soul?" Yonah did not understand. "Yes, time to learn." Yonah laughed. "That is impossible. I am poor. I never went to school. I cannot even read." Rabbi Yochanan said softly, "Even so, if you truly want to learn, I will teach you." A difficult choice. Yonah felt confused. He wanted to learn, but he had to work to support his family. "If I study, how will my family survive?" Rabbi Yochanan answered, "If you gain knowledge, it will be your treasure forever. It may be hard at first, but if you continue, you can build a better future." Yonah thought deeply. The next day, he visited the rabbi. "I will try." And so, the learning journey of Yonah, the market worker, began. Learning and growing. At first, it was very hard. Learning letters and reading the holy books felt like carrying heavy bags. But Yonah did not give up. "If I can carry heavy bags in the market, I can also carry knowledge." He studied every day and slowly became better. A new life. After a few years, Yonah was no longer a market worker. He became a great scholar and started teaching others. One day, his old friends from the market visited him. "Yonah, is it true that you studied with the rabbi?" "Amazing. Now, people in town come to you for wisdom." Yonah smiled and said, "Learning is more valuable than any job." He no longer carried heavy bags. Instead, he carried the treasure of wisdom. The lesson of the story. Learning has the power to change a life. No matter how poor you are, if you work hard, you can gain knowledge. Even if something is difficult at first, if you keep going, it will become a great treasure. What do you think about this story? A young man who wanted to learn. A long time ago, in a small village, there was a young man who wanted to learn important things. His name was David. David loved studying. He wanted to become the wisest person in the village. One day, he heard about a great teacher named Rabbi Eliyahu. People said, "He is the wisest man in this land. I will go and learn from Rabbi Eliyahu." David decided. The request. David went to Rabbi Eliyahu's house. When he arrived, he spoke excitedly. Rabbi, please teach me. I want to become wise as quickly as possible. Tell me how I can learn all the Torah and wisdom in the shortest time. Rabbi Eliyahu looked at David quietly. Then, he smiled. I have a small task for you, he said. The rabbi gave David a bowl full of water. Take this bowl and carry it to the top of that hill. But be careful, you must not spill even a single drop of water. David thought, this is easy. He took the bowl carefully with both hands. I must carry it safely, he said. Rushing leads to mistakes. David started walking slowly. At first, everything was fine. But soon, he started to feel impatient. I want to finish this quickly and learn from the rabbi. But when he tried to move faster, the water in the bowl shook. It almost spilled. Oh no, I must be more careful. So, David took a deep breath. He walked step by step, slowly and carefully. Finally, he reached the hill. At that moment, he realized something. If I rush, the water spills. But if I take my time, I can carry it safely. He carefully walked back and handed the bowl to the rabbi. Without spilling any water. Learning is like water. Rabbi Eliyahu looked at the bowl and said softly, David, learning is just like this water. If you try to learn everything too quickly, you will forget it, just like the water that spills from the bowl. But if you learn step by step, little by little, you will truly understand and remember important things. David's eyes widened. I see. Becoming wise is not about learning everything at once. It is about studying a little each day. From that day on, David studied patiently, one step at a time. And slowly, he became truly wise. The lesson of the story. This story teaches us that knowledge is not something we get in an instant. It is something we build, little by little. If we learn a little every day without rushing, we will gain true wisdom in the end. A young man's dream. A long time ago, in a small country, there was a young man named Reuben. He worked very hard, but he was poor. One day, I want to be rich, he dreamed. One day, Reuben heard a rumor. There is an island far across the sea. The island is full of jewels. Reuben was excited. He quickly got on a ship and sailed toward the island. But on the way, a big storm came. His ship broke, and he was thrown into the sea. The island of sand. When Reuben woke up, he was lying on a beach. Where am I? He thought. He walked into the island and saw many beautiful buildings. The people there looked happy and busy. But Reuben was surprised. The people were picking up sand from the ground and putting it into bags. They looked very excited. What are you doing? Reuben asked. A man laughed and said, What do you mean? Sand is the most valuable treasure here. Reuben couldn't believe it. In the island's market, people traded sand for food, houses, and clothes. I see. In this place, sand is money. Reuben becomes rich. Reuben followed the island's rules. He worked day and night to collect sand. Now I will be rich too. After some time, he had a big storage house full of sand. People on the island called him a rich man. My dream came true, he thought. But one question stayed in his mind. Is sand valuable outside this island? One day, Reuben found something strange. In a small corner of the island, he saw something shiny. It was a real jewel. But the island people just laughed. That is just a useless rock. Reuben thought, is it really useless? Maybe. Outside this island, jewels are more valuable than sand. So he started to collect a few jewels in secret. Leaving the island. After many years, Reuben decided to leave the island. He filled his ship with bags of sand. But just in case, he also took some jewels. After a long journey, he returned to his home country. He quickly went to the market. Give me food in exchange for this sand, he said. But the people laughed. What? Sand? We have sand everywhere. Reuben was shocked. What? My treasure is worthless here? He felt sad. But then, he remembered the jewels in his pocket. Maybe. He showed a jewel to a merchant. The merchant's eyes opened wide. Wow, this is a beautiful jewel. It is very valuable. Reuben sold the jewel and finally became truly rich. The lesson of the story. Some things look valuable, but they are actually worthless. Some things look small, but they are real treasures. Do not believe only what you see. Look at the world with a wide mind. Can you see the sand and jewels in your life? The Fallen Crown. A long time ago, there was a great king. He was very smart, and everyone in the country respected him. But he sometimes thought, I am very important. A walk in the garden. One sunny day, the king was walking in his beautiful garden. Flowers were blooming in many colors, and little birds were singing happily. It feels like they are welcoming me, the king thought. He smiled and said to himself, yes, I am a great king. But then, plop, the king's crown fell from his head. The king's decision. The servants were shocked. Oh no, the king's crown fell on the ground. They shouted. They quickly ran to pick it up. But then, wait, the king raised his hand and stopped them. Then, something surprising happened. The king bent down by himself and picked up the crown. The servants gasped. A proud king would say, someone, pick it up for me. But this king did not. He held the crown gently and said, if my crown falls, I should lower my head to pick it up. The servants were deeply moved. Soon, this story spread all over the country. The kingdom became kinder. After that day, the king became even kinder. The people of the country also became more caring toward each other. The lesson of the story. A truly great person is not the one who always holds their head high, but the one who can lower their head when needed. By picking up his own crown, the king showed the importance of humility. Everyone makes mistakes, but the strongest people are those who can accept their mistakes and act with kindness. The Wise Man and the Bridge. A traveler was on a long journey. One day, he reached a big river. Oh, lucky me, there is a bridge, he thought. He happily walked toward the bridge. But then, creak, crack, the wooden planks made scary noises. The bridge looked very weak. The traveler stopped for a moment. He thought, but maybe it's okay. So, he took a step forward. The wise man appears. Suddenly, an old man with a long white beard appeared. Stop, he said. The traveler was surprised. The old man spoke calmly. This bridge is broken. If you cross it, you will fall into the river. A hard choice. The traveler frowned. But if I cross here, I will reach the other side quickly. If I take another way, it will take too much time. The wise man smiled kindly. Tell me, he said, which is better, crossing quickly and falling into the river, or taking the long way and reaching your goal safely? The traveler thought carefully. He is right. A broken bridge is not a real shortcut. So, he decided to listen to the wise man. He searched for another path. It was a long road, but it was safe and easy to walk. The traveler's lesson. A few hours later, the traveler arrived at his destination. He looked back at the river. Just then, crash, the old bridge collapsed into the river. The traveler gasped. I'm so glad I listened to the wise man. From that day on, he never chose dangerous shortcuts again. The lesson of the story. A short or easy path is not always the right one. If you only think about quick success, you might face big failures. Sometimes, a long and safe path is the best choice.